Hey guys, Norchetto here. Thanks for stopping back in. So, huge announcement day today for the Atlanta OverWatch League team. Today we have the announcement of our coaching staff. So this is huge news. This is absolutely huge news. Just a little bit ago, Paul Hamilton tweeted out the announcement. It's also, there's an announcement up on AtlantaEsportsVentures.com, and I was going to read over that real quick. It says, Atlanta Esports Ventures welcomes coaches for Overwatch League team. Today, Atlanta Esports Ventures announced Brad Sephy Rajani, formerly of Selfless Gaming in North America Overwatch Contenders team Last Night's Leftovers, will be the new head coach of AEV's Overwatch League team. Prior to his role with Last Night's Leftovers, Brad was head coach for Overwatch League San Francisco Shock. Additionally, AEV welcomed Dimitri Couturet as assistant coach, Casores Van Andel as player development coach, Danny Mychakov as data analyst, and Dongmin Jeong as translator ahead of the team's inaugural season. So I wanted to kind of go over each of these people and give a very brief overview of who they are and what they bring to the table. First off, and the biggest one in front of us is Brad Rajani, or Sephy, or as some people know him, Selfless Brad or Coach Brad, is the former coach of the San Francisco Shock, former coach of Last Night's Leftovers, former coach of the Selfless Overwatch team, and former owner of Selfless, the esports organization. So, Brad, I looked a lot into him when there were leaks coming out that he was going to be signed as our coach, and I watched some interviews, read some interviews, and looked at his past. And from what I picked up about Coach Brad is that he is a very down to earth guy, has a firm history in gaming. Talked about how he started playing with like Command and Conquer, which that he's got my heart already with that, but. One thing I noticed in a lot of interviews with him is there is a lot of outside the box thinking, whereas a lot of teams would go into it and say, what's the meta? Let's get good at those heroes. Let's practice what is good, and let's dominate with known strats. Coach Brad seems to be the type that looks for opportunities that a lot of people haven't seen, maybe try some things out that you wouldn't expect. And from a lot of the VODs that I've watched from his teams and when they play, even going back as far as Selfless before OWL, there's a lot of crazy stuff that you'd see. I know that one of their strats was just straight up spawn camping, and in places and against teams that you don't normally spawn camp against, and they would pull it off. He's had some amazing players play for him. And just has a lot of connections to the league and the community in general, and specifically with the league, he was the coach for San Francisco Shock for majority of season 1 of the Overwatch League. He ended up being let go and hired on to Last Night's Leftovers, the Contenders team, and doing great things with them and their staff, and was replaced with the former Boston Uprising coach Krusty. So he's experienced a lot of the league, a lot of the organization that we're going to have to be going through as an expansion team. He knows what all of those things are. He knows what to expect, so we shouldn't have any growing pains about kind of learning about what the league is from him. And he seems to really respect his players. That's one thing that, listening to him talk about these people, he really cares about propelling the players forward and making them kind of the best that they can be. So I'm really looking forward to what Coach Brad can bring to the table. I know that when he was with Selfless and the coach and owner of Selfless, their team house was actually in Atlanta. His Twitter picture right now, actually, I'll throw it up, actually still has the background is Atlanta. So he's familiar with the city. The organization's familiar with the city. He's familiar with the league. He's down to earth, cares about his players, and I'm really happy with this acquisition. Moving on from that, we have Silence, who is Dimitri Couturet as the assistant coach. I don't actually know a whole lot about Silence. I know that he was a assistant coach and an analyst for Last Night's Leftovers. So I feel like this is one of those people that has been been very important to Coach Brad coaching LNL, and it's someone he wants to bring over to help him coach this new team. So I have very limited information about Silence, but I hear very, very good things about not only his ability, but his synergy with Coach Brad. So after that, we have Cas van Andel, or Casores. He is a professional Dutch main support player, currently coaching for 1 Point, and he looks like he's going to be bringing in a lot of the player perspective into and shot calling and analytics from the position of that support player. Being in the back lines, being able to see everything going on and know where to focus your attention and know where to give those calls is very important. And with both his success with teams and with coaching, I think this Dutch player is actually going to be really great for having his feet on the ground and being able to give perspective from the player side. We have Danny Mychakov, who from what I look, he is actually an analyst for Team Canada right now. So one of the top national teams competing for the World Cup this year. One of their analysts is going to be coming to the Atlanta team. So I am super excited about that. He's training with some of the best players in the world right now, and I see that just fully carrying over. Nothing bad to say there. So this last one, though, this is the one that probably has the biggest implication to me, which is Dongmin Jeong. And he is a English-Korean translator for World of Warcraft, Heroes of the Storm, Overwatch, so generally a lot of esports, Blizzard esports, but a Korean English translator. So what does that mean? At the very least, that could mean a couple of Korean players that need to be integrated into the team. At the most, we could have a full Korean roster. Who knows? I know there's been a lot of talk about organizations, Korean contenders teams, breaking up and having different people sent to different teams in the Overwatch League. I've heard of a lot of organizations trying to stay together and it being difficult. So, at the very least, I expect a couple of Korean players. At most, I'm thinking we might be able to sign a whole Korean roster. But if there is such a need for an English Korean translator to be on staff, expect at least a few Koreans on the roster, which I am personally very happy about. I like diversity. I understand that a lot of very, very high-ranking talent comes from Korea, so I'm absolutely fine having Koreans or even a full Korean roster on our team if it means they're going to be performing and doing the best they can for the team. Now, Coach Brad has historically coached Western teams. He's built teams with a lot of Americans and Europeans, but it looks like he's going to kind of pivot a little bit from that. So we'll see how this goes. I think the talent can come from the West or the East, and we have experience in the staff for dealing with that. And until we hear more, I mean, all we can really do is speculate on what that means and who these players are going to be based on history. And it could be anything at this point, so it's hard to speculate. So yeah, that's what we have right now, guys. We have our coaching staff announced. We have a lot of people with a lot of talent, a lot of history coming in to lead this team. And right now we're actually in the open signing window for expansion teams. So we should be hearing news, maybe not explicitly who these free agents are being signed to, but that free agents are being signed and picked up. So I'll keep my ear to the ground, keep your eyes open for any more news on that. And kind of until we hear anything else, yeah, that's kind of all I have today. So I appreciate everybody stopping back in. I have some things in the works to once again elevate the channel a little bit. I'm looking to get some intros, new work done for a logo, and I actually am planning on doing a small giveaway for maybe some currency for Blizzard games, buy some loot boxes, do something like that. But I'm trying to come up with maybe a fun contest, guess the name of the team, guess name and color, something like that, and figuring out the best way to kind of get people engaged. And so yeah, if you have any ideas for what a good idea for a giveaway would be, let me know. If you have any thoughts on this staff, let me know. And until we get more information about players, I will see you guys next time. All right. Thanks a lot.